A very, very happy Tuesday and welcome to the TNC Sports Talk. My name is Justin. Today is May 19th of 2026. I hope everyone is having a beautiful Tuesday. I'm kind of starting to adjust to this more heated temperature rises. Not prepared for it. I'm going to be honest with you. I love the cold and I not a big fan of the heat. I sweat in areas that probably don't need to be sweated at. And I just sweat easy. I wake up and it's kind of ruins my day when I wake up in the morning and I'm all dressed. And I don't know what it is, but our bedroom, no matter how enclosed it is, we put up one of those black tarps over our window, so we don't let any direct sunlight or heat. We have the AC on. I have a fan on my end of the bed. My wife has a fan on her end of the bed, and yet it stills to be very hot and humid. When you walk out to the living room, it's nice and cool and in the mid 70s. And so, I'm not enjoying it. I think that's really been one of the reasons why the last several days has not been a good we haven't slept so well because the heat, adjusting to the heat. Plus, you get these chronicle headaches for waking up, moving back and forth between the hot and the cold, right? So I don't know what it is. I'm not adjusting to it, but it's getting warmer. That means earlier in the morning, later in the afternoon, the sun sets on us, and I just got to tell you, it has not been a pleasant thing the last couple weeks. But we're making that adjustment. I want to appreciate everyone's patience for not being here yesterday. My middle child won a couple of awards at school, which I thought was a wonderful thing. Got a chance to experience that and watch the award ceremony. And then we went back yesterday evening to watch my oldest. She's graduating from the fifth grade, moving up to the sixth grade. So that's fun to see. As a parent who's going through this for the very first time, it's you have a sense of joy because you get a chance to watch your kids grow up and be successful. It means that you're doing something right in your household. Although there is a depression that comes with it because you know what comes following that. There's no turning back, we rewinding the clock. So although you've done the best of your ability up until this point, what lies ahead is middle school. Middle school is a whole completely different thing than what elementary school is, right? Um, she's starting to also, they're also creating their own personalities. Some say around this time they go through puberty. It's just a complete different atmosphere that me as a parent, is adjusting for the very first time. So, like I was just talking to my mom this morning about it. It was like, man, you know, I I'm distraught. I don't know what to think of. I feel like I have to make the change with them, but I don't know how to make that change, or I haven't came to the conclusion of that change. So, um, it was a fun day yesterday. It was filled with mixed emotions. At the end of the day, I'm happy. These kids are thriving. They're growing up maybe too quickly to my cup of tea, but they're finding success in life. And that's what I love most about this. So I'm taking it all in, regardless of if there's any tears shed. And I'm just enjoying the ride. I'm going to continue what I can possibly do to give them the best outcome of their lives looking ahead. All right. Well, what's looking on our show on a Tuesday afternoon? Gonna grab my water. Stay hydrated, guys. Yeah, it's hot out there. Whether you guys are in a factory, at a grocery store, if you guys are someone out there, these ball players are staying hydrated. We gotta stay hydrated too. So that's what my plan is. So um today we gotta talk some Reds baseball. They dropped game one to the Phillies yesterday. They're at 500 now. And the question's still out there. what is the solution for the Reds? They made some transactions we'll cover in today's episode, but the Cincinnati Reds need to make some serious adjustments. And it seems like everything that they're doing right now is not working. And so one of the conversation pieces over the weekend is completing ball games, turning back to your bullpen, to make ensuring a closed out game. And so we're going to be looking at a couple of categories possibly to help the Cincinnati Reds. This is all just theoretical speaking, potential, and we'll see what makes of it. But we'll do that. We'll get you ready for the minor league farm system from high A to triple A for the Cincinnati Reds organization, how they went in their last week of performance, getting you guys ready for action starting later today. Also, the Big 12 Conference baseball playoffs is underway. We'll get you well into that NBA, NHL playoffs, but we are going to start here today with the WWE. We have Monday Night Raw last night. Um, Let me just run you through the card here. And keep in mind, Saturday night main event is planned for this Saturday, and that match card has filled out quite nicely. Some more matches have been developed for Clash in Italy, which is next Saturday. So everything is in progress, pushing forward to our upcoming events this weekend and next weekend. Don't forget, AAA has a event, I believe, on YouTube this Saturday night. Well, you kick things off with the biggest blockbuster Raw movement right now in the recent weeks, and that is Roman Reigns dealing with Jacob Fatu. And Jacob Fatu ultimately challenges Roman Reigns to a tribal combat heading into Clash in Italy. It was another brawl, another beatdown. Adam Pearce is trying to intervene, and it doesn't do anything. So it looks like in 2 weeks, we will see another brawl between Jacob and Roman Reigns. We'll talk about that here in a moment. Finn Balor defeated JD McDonough in a street fight. So it's basically Finn Balor taking on the Judgment Day. It was Dominic Mysterio and JD. This feud that's been ongoing since WrestleMania 42. You kind of ask yourself, at what point or where does this all end? Sol Ruka challenges Becky Lynch to a title shot this Saturday at Saturday Night Main Event. Paige and Brie Bella was successful in their championship title defense against Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez. Brock Lesnar made a return as Oba Femi came out for another open challenge, and Brock Lesnar attacked him, ambushed him from behind. Then Paul Heyman meets with Adam Pearce, handing Adam a contract for Clash in Italy for a match that Brock Lesnar already signed against Oba Femi. And then we saw Seth Rollins defeat Austin Theory. It became a Vision versus Seth Rollins and the Street Profits. And the Vision walked away, and that leads up to a Saturday night main event. So right now, this Saturday, in Saturday night's main event, the match card is as follows as of right now. Here's my latest update. We have the Intercontinental Championship between Penta and Ethan Page, a World Tag Team Championship match between the Vision, Logan Paul, Austin Theory, taking on the Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins, and Montez Ford. We have the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, Paige and Brie Bella taking on the Irresistible Forces of Nia Jax and Lash Legend. We have the Women's Intercontinental Championship versus NXT star Becky Lynch versus Sol Ruka. It's a non-title match. And then a 6-woman tag team match, Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, and Alexa Bliss taking on Jade Cargill, Min Sheen, and BFAB. So that's the match card thus far. We'll pay attention to it here in a little bit later this week. But I want to talk about two things that really stood out to me and on Raw last night. First of all, it has to be the opening segment with Jacob Fatu, Roman Reigns, now heading into Clash in Italy in a tribal combat. Basically, a street fight, anything goes. And when you think things can't get any better, they do. I thought this was a good elevation to the feud. I think this is a good presentation on the climb of Jacob Fatu. And I don't think any other match, so to speak, any other stipulation between these two men lays out here better than a tribal combat. Now, the only conundrum to this is that, yes, there can and probably will be outside interference in this match. But you ask yourself, of what sorts? Now, I've been kind of preaching. I've been kind of proclaiming that this is a picture larger and bigger. This is a second go around of family drama. And we're only seeing this is a slow process, like we saw with the bloodline and their reign in this next chapter. And this next chapter, as we could obviously clearly see, is focused on Jacob Fatu, an outsider to the family, an outcast to the bloodline, trying to prove to not only the family, but to everyone else that he belongs, that he is just as worthy. I'll tell you what, from what I've seen over the last few months, Jacob Fatu has proven himself. He has proven how far he's willing to go. Although he has come up short a few times, he has really earned my respect. And if it was up to me, it wouldn't be too much longer he, like I said a couple weeks ago, he presents a first true challenge within the family going after Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is truly scared of Jacob Fatu, and he thought last Monday or last weekend at Backlash that after beating him, he was going to go off and just disappear. That's not Jacob Fatu. He didn't climb his way just to be tossed to the side. So Roman Reigns is going to have to do it all over again. And now you're asking yourself, is Jacob Fatu ever going to quit? I wrote this question down prior to the show thinking about this. I asked myself, is Jacob Fatu gaining anything from this? And my answer has to be yes. He's gaining his place among the family. Right now, to me, he's quickly gaining power. He's quickly gaining respect from the Usos, from Solo Sikoa. He's doing this. He's paying his ultimate duties. But didn't Roman Reigns have to do that as well when he first started out? Everyone turned the cheek to Roman, ultimately to be able to support him. You kind of feel like there's a shift in the air, in the environment, in the atmosphere as we continue to progress further into this storyline that Jacob is climbing. He's going to become over. And whether or not he wins next Saturday, this is not over. He's not going to back down. He's not going to give up. My other thing on Raw came from the return of Brock Lesnar. Now, I know Okay. We went back to WrestleMania. We saw him take off his boots. We saw him take off his gloves. A clear indication that Brock Lesnar, not Jacob Fatu, Brock Lesnar was retiring. And if he retired at WrestleMania 42, everyone's happy. No one's second questioning it. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He deserves to go off into the sunset and spend his time however he chooses to speak. But last night, as Obafemi was waiting for an opponent, Brock Lesnar comes out, blindsides him, and brutally beats Obafemi, leaving him in the ring. And now we're anticipating in seeing a match, a rematch from WrestleMania 42 at in Italy. Now, I don't think Obafemi is going to back down from this challenge. He's beat him once. Why not beat him again? But what I've seen on social media over the last 12 hours has to come along the lines of, well, what is the purpose? You're confusing me, WWE. Did Brock Lesnar retire? Is he back? Why does he want another match if he was to do a job? What makes sense of this? And ultimately, there's been indication, speculation that with the upcoming PLEs, with the international events that's going on, with SummerSlam being in a Detroit, claiming to be Brock Lesnar's hometown this summer, that Brock Lesnar has a very few selective dates. Whatever you want to think, whatever the story may be, the bottom line is that Brock Lesnar got humiliated at WrestleMania 42. This wasn't just a loss to Brock Lesnar. He got demolished. He finally met somebody that he was not able to face whatsoever. Out of any man, regardless if you're out the door or not, out of any man, what in the right mind do you think Brock Lesnar was done with this? Brock Lesnar has always had the last laugh. He's always had the final word. And when it comes down to, and now Brock Lesnar has a chip on his shoulder because he got ran through by the ruler of the jungle at some WrestleMania. He can't leave like that. And so Brock Lesnar took it upon, he may have indicated that, hey, I'm retired. I don't need to be doing this anymore. You don't need to be calling my number every time you need someone to come save the WWE. But I'm not done yet. I may be away from that part of wrestling, but I got some unfinished business, and that's against Obafemi. That was my clear initial thought when I saw this, and didn't come to by surprise. Were you surprised by Brock Lesnar returning to the WWE, returning to Raw? We have, in any international, just think about this in a business perspective. You have a PLE in Clash of Italy that's not only a PLE, but it's in a different country coming up. You have a SummerSlam, one of the four biggest PLEs of the WWE each and every year, coming up here in the summer in his hometown. And I might as well just throw in the idea or the concept that you have WrestleMania 43 in Saudi Arabia. What does all that indicate? Payday. Star power. Immortality rises to the occasion. So if the opportunity, under the right circumstances, presents itself, Brock Lesnar's going to take it. And with Paul Heyman as his advocate, I could pretty guarantee you, be sure that Brock Lesnar's not going to do anything without a rhyme or reason. Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman would not allow Brock Lesnar, okay, he's not new to the company. He's a Hall of Fame veteran in a lot of everyone's books. Brock Lesnar is not just going to show up attack someone without a reason behind the storyline. If it doesn't make sense, it's not there. I think we've seen that before. If there's not money to be made, then it's not there. And the bottom line is that from what I've seen first look, Brock Lesnar has some unfinished business, regardless if he's retired or not. There is money presented on the table, and money will sell in Clash of Italy. Therefore, this match is warranted. I will discuss later this week, heading into the next week, what possible future plans that they may have for all this. But let's just, instead of trying to dissect and figure out, well, what is the WWE doing? Is it bad? Is it good for business? Let's also remember that Obafemi for the past couple of weeks have had this open challenge match and has only had one person step up to him since at the hands of Okiwa Tozawa and Otis. Matter of fact, last week, the WWE or Obafemi had to go backstage and pull out Berto and Garza to hand select his opponent. So is this really bad for business? Is this really bad for a storyline when there's really nothing on the plate for Obafemi? A lot of people I've heard this morning want Oba to move on and move forward, and I agree with you. But at the same time, there is nothing right now currently for on the plate for Obafemi. There is no one bigger or better to step up to Obafemi after he's built Brock Lesnar. We're apparently bypassing time as Roman Reigns is dealing with Jacob. Cody is dealing with Gunther. It doesn't make sense for Oba to go after Penta, and it doesn't make sense for Oba to go after Trick Williams. So what do you do with Obafemi? Who do you step up to the plate? And I don't blame nobody backstage. Who wants to step up to someone who beat Brock Lesnar within matters of minutes at WrestleMania, who was not phased? The last person I remember who beat Brock Lesnar within a matter of seconds was Goldberg. And he was at the other end of his career. I wouldn't want to step up to Oba. So it makes sense to me why this feud is there. Let's transition. Let's give you a quick MLB update when I can pull up the paperwork because I don't remember how I scheduled this here. All right. All the information you can find on MLB and NHL can be found here on CBSSports.com. That's where I get my information at. But NBA playoffs had a pretty interesting weekend. The Pistons beat the Cavaliers back on Friday, 115-94. That pushed them to Game 7. And on Sunday, we saw the Cavaliers prevail 125-94 against the Pistons. They win the series 4-3, and they move on to the next round. The Spurs last night we saw beat the Thunders in 2 overtimes, 122-115. The Spurs, who beat the Minnesota Timberwolves, advanced in the next round, 139-109 on Friday. And with that first win, they are out front 1-0 to the Oklahoma City Thunders in their series that they began yesterday. Today at 8 p.m. on ESPN, you can watch the Cavaliers and New York Knicks begin their next round in the NBA playoffs. For more information, check out NBA or CBSSports.com. Over in the NHL, we saw on Saturday the Buffalo Sabres beat the Canadiens 8-3 final score. Yesterday in overtime, the Canadiens beat the Sabres 3-0 or 3-2, excuse me. And they will advance to the next round of the NHL playoffs. Tonight, or not tonight, next round of the playoffs begin tomorrow, Wednesday, where the Las Vegas Golden Knights will take on the Colorado Avalanche at 8 p.m. on ESPN. And then on Thursday at 8 p.m. on TNT, you could watch the Canadiens take on the Hurricanes to begin that round. More information on CBSSports.com. All right. Well, the Cincinnati Reds began a 3-game series against the Philadelphia Phillies last night at Citizens Bank Park. It's part of their 6-game road trip right now. The Reds just dropped the series 2-1, only taken 1 out of 3 against the Guardians over the weekend. It was part of the Battle of Ohio, where interleague play rivals games took place all weekend long. Well, the Reds picked up a game win on Friday, lost on Saturday and Sunday, and they lost to the Phillies. Final score 5-4, and this continues into the Phillies' success rate right now, as they've just been unstoppable since Don Manley took over as the manager. They are in second place of the NL Central or NL East division, and man, this is kind of one of those series where you really you're for the Reds, they want to turn things around. They're trying to turn things around. I don't think it's run producing. I don't think it. I mean, we could point fingers at our rotation. We could point fingers at our bullpen, and sure, our run producing does have its ups and downs, but it's one of the things where it's just no matter what we're trying to do, nothing seems to work. See, Nick Lodolo has returned. It's been about a week and a half since Nick Lodolo has returned to the major league roster. He's been dealing with the blister injury. He returned back on, I want to say, what, the first? No, the 8th, right? May 8th, he returned, where he took on the Astros. This is his third outing since then, and Nick Lodolo went 5 2/3 of an inning, 3 hits, 3 runs, 5 walks, 3 strikeouts, and he only gave up 1 home run. Now, I've talked about this last week, and I this has kind of been the tell of the take for the Reds this season. It's been the consistent inconsistency. So if you're, I'm asking you this: 5 2/3 of an inning. That means he went 2 outs into the 6th inning. Probably went to the lineup at least twice, if not more, against a really good Philadelphia Phillies right now. Is that a bad outing? I think that's more of a solid outing. It's not a typical outing that we can expect our Reds pitchers to go after 5, 6 innings. Now, you look more along the numbers. 3 hits. 3 hits isn't terrible. 3 runs. Okay. 2 to 4 for me is an average run I could think or expect someone to give up in that longevity. 5 walks, definitely a red flag, but the Reds have really been ferocious when it comes down to giving up walks. He struck out 3. He only allowed a home run. So overall, I'm struggling to see where Nick Lodolo had a bad outing last night. Okay, so I thought it was a good outing. I think Graham Ashcraft went an inning and 2/3 as well. He gave up 2 runs in his outing, right? That gave up the Phillies, and that was all she wrote, right? For the loss. But every once in a while, even our good bullpen pitchers give up runs. So Sal Stewart hit a home run. Comparison to Alec Boehm and you know Bryson Stott in last night's game. So I'm trying to figure out exactly where I don't think 4 runs is not bad. Was there multiple opportunities for more runs? Of course, but giving up 5 runs is not a bad outing. Oh, sure. We talk about the inconsistency from our rotation. Brady Singer, we point out, and I love Brady Singer. Last year, this is why we brought him back this year. It's because he was one of our few guys last season that we could trust going out there every 5 days of the week. And that's not been the case this season. The only guy that I trust going out there every 5 days this week and getting the ball, it's going to be Chase Burns. And the only way he's going to find success is if he's going to be supported by the bullpen. Let me put this in perspective. Chase Burns, he'll be on the mound tonight. He's 5-1 with the under a 2.0 ERA. He sits at 1.87. He went 6 innings last Thursday against the Nationals. He only gave up 2 hits, gave up 1, no runs. And let me go back up to the top. I just want to see this real quick. The Nationals won 15-1. That was great. Now you pitched out 2, 3, 4, 5. You pitched against the Cubs 8-3. That was back on the 7th, I believe. Let me confirm that. I'm going to confirm it for you. That was louder. That was not Burns. Where did Burns go? Was it Thursday? Singer. Just trying to pinpoint here the schedule, the previous outing to this. Let's have it. I think, all right, let's go back here. We're going to go down to today's game. I wanted to find out. Hold on one second. I want to give you guys some information to think of. Because Chase Burns has had himself a decent run. It was against the Houston last Saturday. He went 6 innings. He only gave up 1 run, 4 hits, 3 walks, and 2 strikeouts. Now, it wasn't his best performance, but the Astros lost. The Pirates, which was that Sunday press where the Reds lost 1-0. He in 7 innings, he gave up 3 hits, walked 1 batter, and struck out 7. My point I'm trying to make here is that the Chase Burns is our only pitcher that you can feel confident in moving forward. And so we're trying to figure out what's the best solution. Is it pointing fingers at Terry Francona and the coaching staff? Or is it pointing fingers at the players? And right now, nothing seems to happen. And the Reds are making all of these stops that they could stop. And they just continue not to win. What doesn't help when we're facing a right now on fire hot Philadelphia Phillies. This weekend, we come into Great American Ballpark and host the Cardinals, which they're playing really good baseball. So we're not going to catch a break. And if we're supposed to be this good team, and now we're struggling because we just got back to 500. All right, latest news reports on injuries back on Sunday. Jose Trevino left in the game with a left hamstring strain. He is now on the IL. MRI revealed that he had a grade 1 strain of Trevino's left hamstring behind his knee. Terry Francona said Trevino could be back in the team in about 3 to 4 weeks. There's no exact timetable. That was done said on Monday. Suarez, he's dealing with the oblique strain since April 25th. It was retroactive to April 23rd for a 10-day IL. Expect sometime in June and July. Flew to Cincinnati on May 18th to join the AAA Louisville on May 19th. The plan is for him to take BP and work out with Louisville, then play DH May 20th and third base on May 21st, which is coming up on Wednesday and Thursday. We'll get you more details about those games. The last update was yesterday. Caleb Ferguson expected to return sometime this month. His latest appearance with AAA Louisville back on May 17th, which on Sunday reported that he feels good, according to Terry Francona. The Reds will work through what is next for the pitcher, whether that is in the majors or in the minors. Hunter Green throwing out to 150 feet in Arizona. First bullpen session will be scheduled for May 26th, which is coming up next Tuesday. Also says that if all goes well, he'll rejoin the team on May 29th to continue his rehab. Rhett Lauder expects to return next month, hopefully, dealing with the right shoulder pain. Met with the team officials on May 13th when manager Terry Francona indicated that making good progress to the point where he can resume throwing on May 14th, which was last Thursday. And that was the last update of that. Brady Singer, right foot bruised, back on Sunday. Or bruised. His next start was against the Cleveland Guardians on Sunday. Emilio Pagan still out with his hamstring, and Brandon Williamson still out with left shoulder fatigueness. On Sunday, Jose Trevino was placed on the 10-day IL. Luis May was optioned to Louisville. Jose Franco was recalled to Louisville as well. PJ Higgins was recalled as a catcher to Louisville. And outfielder Reese Hines was designated for assignment. So a lot of things have been transpiring for the Reds. And I don't know. I want to look at that. Let's look at that. Okay. What can help the Cincinnati Reds? And I read an article that indicated some three players. We got to be realistic here. We can't just go trade for the top players. So I think it's important to understand that, hey, we need some change. Whatever that change is, we need some change. And so there's three pitchers that was highlighted. I was looking at their numbers. And I want to kind of review who they have selected to maybe who I would go with. Now, I think all three players or pitchers are great. And if we could possibly, yeah, it's time that we may look into a possible trade to help the bullpen. Something that we need our rotation to feel comfortable and confident. So when our bullpen takes over, that they can go out and close games, especially if we're winning by 2 or 3 runs. So they have left-handed pitcher Brian King from the Houston Astros. He's 29 years old. He's 0-1 from the bullpen, 3.15 ERA. He has 4 saves to the record, 20 innings pitched, and 16 strikeouts. He was drafted by the Cubs in 2019. The Astros sit 19-30, fourth in the AL West. Next up, we have Miami Marlins right-handed pitcher Anthony Bendar. He's 31 years of age. He's 1-0, 3.57 ERA, 1 save, 17 2/3 of an inning with 19 strikeouts. He was a 2016 draft by the Kansas City Royals. Miami is 22-20 and fourth in the NL East. And then we have right-handed pitcher Brad Lord, who's 26 of age. He's 2-0, 3.10 ERA, 29 innings pitched with 23 strikeouts. He was drafted by the Nationals in 2022. He's 23-25, 30 in the NL East. So, those are just 3 pitchers that we have named as a potential opportunity to go out there and trade for. How much of an impact can these pitchers be affected by just having a change of scenery? Well, we're going to see over the next few outings with Chris Paddock, who was recently signed to the Reds last week. He pitched on Saturday against the Guardians. And Chris Paddock, he went out and he was pitching for the Marlins. And then he got released. I think that any ERA about under 3.5 is a solid ERA for a bullpen person. You look at King, you look at Bindar, who's capable of closing. We desperately need someone to be able to fill in that role. Brian King, and they all come from teams that they're not really high up on their division, and they may be looking to remove some of these players. So I like Anthony Bindar. To me, out of all of this, Bindar is the most knowledgeable. He's the most. I think he's obviously the oldest, and I feel like that comes with some sort of veteranship. Uh, to have a 3.57, he has the worst ERA as out of all of them, but I feel like he's been put in more critical situations. My next runner up is going to be Brian King. I think another change of scenery. He has the most saves. He has the least amount. He has the second least amount of innings pitched, and he's a left-handed pitcher. Now that would all depend on Caleb Ferguson and his return, and then you have Sam Maul, you have Brock Burke. If Caleb Ferguson comes back, I don't think that Terry Francona can hesitate calling him up. I feel like Caleb Ferguson is a situational hitter, and we picked him up during the offseason. I don't know why we wouldn't want to use him as soon as he came over understanding as part of a piece that Emilio Bragan brought over. And we have yet to see him at the major league level this far this season. So I wouldn't see why we wouldn't want to bring out Caleb Ferguson. And that's where, although I like Brian King, I can't see the Reds make a push on Brian King. And then you have Brad Lord, which 26 of age. He's the youngest out of this entire group. I think he has the much to learn. I think he comes with a little bit more to train and to develop. And why not? He also has the lowest ERA out of all of them and the most strikeouts and the most innings. So if you're asking me out of all these three guys, who would I be favored for? I would have to go with Brad Lord as my number one person. I feel like Anthony Bindar is great, but we already have a handset of guys that are veterans up there in age. I like to stick with the young person. The other, I guess, the problem that we're going to run into is if, let's say, we did try to get any of these three players, who would you give up? And how much are you willing to give up? Because at this point, neither all three teams are going to be looking for a postseason run. Therefore, you'd be looking probably for prospects and who's down there that we're willing to trade. I mean, we just DFA. We DFA Christian Encarnacion Strand. We sent him off to Baltimore. Then PJ Higgins, who we see re-signed and brought him back up. And now Reese Hines. I don't know what the future holds for him. But the bottom line is, and the point that I'm trying to make, which is a fair point to anybody's statue if you're following the Reds, is that the Reds need to make some sort of change. It's not working with the farm system. It's not working with who we have right now on the major league roster. We're moving too many pieces around, and we're not giving them enough time to develop. If so, we're pushing forward. And that may be the cost of this season that I'm not satisfied with. So if you had to choose one, who would you choose? And if not, do you have a pitcher out there of your own caliber that you think can make a huge difference? And that would be a perfect argument for the Cincinnati Reds to pick up between now and the trade deadline. Let me know down in the comments below. But boy, I'm just hoping that we come back and we win today, split the series, and in order to finish the series off at 3-3, we would have to win today and tomorrow, and then we could at least have a 3-3 record, which I would love to hit out. Finish off at least above 500. That will give us 2 games above 500. If we at least take one and lose the next one, we'd go 2-4 this road stands, and be at 500 heading at home. I think that the Reds need to do whatever they can to at least head back to Great American Ballpark with a 500 record. It is a must. Tonight's game, game two, will be available on Reds TV, or you can listen to it on WOW 700. First pitch is at 6:40. The Reds 24 and 24, fifth in the NL Central, will send out right-handed pitcher Chase Burns. It's 5-1 with a 1.87 ERA. The last pitched on Thursday against the Nationals, where he went 6 innings, giving up 2 hits, no runs, 2 walks, and 7 strikeouts. The Phillies went through with a 25 and 23 record. It's second in the NL East. They'll send out left-handed pitcher Jesus Luzardo, who's 3-3 with a 5.07 ERA. The last pitch also on Thursday, while they were in Boston to take on the Red Sox. Luzardo pitched 6 innings, giving up 4 hits, no runs, 1 walk, and 4 strikeouts. That first pitch is at 6:40. Let's take a look at what's going down on the in the National League Central. Yesterday, one other game in the Central took place, and that is the rivalry between the Milwaukee Brewers for taking on the Chicago Cubs. Milwaukee walked away with a victory with the final score of 9-3. Today, we will see the Brewers and Cubs again. Brewers interplay with a 27 and 18 record, while the Cubs enter in with a 29 and 19 record. That first pitch is at 7:40. Then the NL Central rival games continue with the Pirates take on the Cardinals. Pittsburgh enter in with a 24 and 23 record, taking on the Cardinals, or 27 and 19. That first pitch is at 7:45. Take a look at what's going on down at the farm, our minor league farm system. You can check out minor league farm system at minorleaguebaseball.com. The Louisville Bats, AAA to the Reds, finished up a 6-game series where they took 2 out of 4, or 3 out of 3, excuse me, I read that wrong, against the Indianapolis Indians. The AAA to the Pittsburgh Pirates last week, they are coming in with a 26 and 19 record, 5-5 over the last 10. They are in second place of the International League West Division. Today, they are on the road in Columbus to take on the Clippers beginning tonight. The Columbus Clippers are the AAA affiliates to the Cleveland Guardians. They are 23 and 22. They are 5-5 over the last 10 games. Their last series, they took 3 out of they split the series 3 apiece against St. Paul Saints, and the Clippers are 6 in the International League West Division. Their series begins today on the 19th and will wrap up on Sunday the 24th. The Chattanooga Lookouts took 2 out of 6 to drop 2 out of 6 against Pensacola Blue Wahoos, the AA affiliates to the Miami Marlins. The Lookouts are 23 and 16. They are 4 and 6 over the last 10, and they are found first in the Southern League North. Their next coming up series is between today through Sunday on the road against the Rocket City Trash Pandas, the Angels AA affiliates. Trash Pandas are 20 and 19. They are 6-4 over the last 10, and they took 4 out of 6 against the Birmingham Barons last week. The Trash Pandas are third in the Southern League North Division. And in High A, Dayton Dragons split the series against the Lake County Captains 3 apiece. They enter in with a 22 and 17 record. They are 7-3 over the last 10, and they are found second in the Midwest League East. They are also on the road today through Sunday, as they are in Fort Wayne to take on the Tin Caps, the High A affiliates to the San Diego Padres. The Tin Caps are 19 and 20. They are 6-4 over the last 10 and third in the Midwest League East Division. They split the series last week against Cedar Rapids Colonels as they await their opponents. That is your minor league rundown. The Cincinnati Bearcats wrapped up their regular season in baseball. Congratulations to the Bearcats. They finished off with a 37-19 record, 17-13 in conference play, one game winning streaks thus far. They finished the home record with 19-7, away 17-12, and at neutral sites 1-0. They took the series against the Texas Tech Red Raiders over the weekend. They actually had a doubleheader on Saturday because of all the rain that we had. They won Friday 13-1. They or Thursday 13-1. They won the first game. They lost this first game on Saturday 6-5 and won the second game on Friday with the final score of 8-7. They await the Big 12 tournament that begins today. Their game is not until the 21st, which is Thursday, as they take on the Arizona State Sun Devils at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Surprise Stadium in Surprise, Arizona. The Big 12 tournament goes on through today over the weekend. I could give you a little bit more information about the Big 12 tournament. Okay. They'll be going on from the 19th to the 23rd. The Big 12 baseball tournament presented by Allstate will be played at the Surprise Stadium, the spring training home of the Kansas City Royals and Texas Rangers located in Surprise, Arizona. The top 12 teams in regular season standings will compete in the tournament. All season tickets for Big 12 before the 2026 Big 12 baseball tournament presented by Allstate at Surprise Stadium in Surprise, Arizona are now on sale by visiting big12sports.com. The 2026 tournament will feature 12 teams in a single elimination format over a 5-day tournament starting on Tuesday, May 19th at 4:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Surprise Stadium will make its debut as the host site of the tournament after hosting MLB spring training over the 2 decades and the Arizona Fall League. There's also the Cactus League of home of the Kansas City Royals and Texas Rangers. Arizona took home the 2025 Big 12 baseball tournament title with a 2-1 extra inning victory against TCU. All right, let's look at the matchups here. Prices, wow, they're pretty expensive. Between what, $100 to $250? Gosh, that's expensive. Uh, that's just my opinion for it. Big 12 tournament. Here's what the schedule looks like today. There's 2 games. We have number 9 BYU taking on number 12 Texas Tech at 4:30 p.m. on ESPN Plus, and then tonight at 8 p.m. on ESPN Plus, number 10 Utah taking on number 11 Kansas State. On Wednesday, we have number 8 Baylor taking on the winner of game number 1 at 4:30 p.m. on ESPN Plus. And then game 4, the number 7 TCU will take on the winner of the second game on ESPN Plus. The schedule rolls over into Thursday as West Virginia and Kansas will await their future opponents. What we do know is that number 4 UCF will take on number 5 Oklahoma State, 9 a.m. in the morning on ESPNU, and then at 8 p.m., which is technically 11 o'clock our time on ESPNU, the number 3 Arizona State takes on number 6 Cincinnati. So Big 12 action, all the information can be found on big12sports.com. That is your Cincinnati Bengals or Bearcats baseball update. A couple interesting things to wrap up this show here today. The New York Mets are the first team since 1983 to record 10 runs in an extra inning. I thought that was something. The Mets, who beat the Washington Nationals, final score 16-7 yesterday on the road, joins elite club, making them the 7th team to record 10 runs in a extra inning game. They are joined with the 1983 Rangers, who scored 12 runs in the 15th inning back on July 3rd, 1983. The Minnesota Twins scored 11 runs in the 10th inning on June 21st, 1969. The New Yankees recorded 11 runs in the 12th inning on July 26, 1928. The Cincinnati Reds recorded 10 runs in the 13th inning On their game, May 15th of 1919, the Braves, which at the time were called Boston, recorded 10 runs in the 10th inning on June 17th, 1989. And the Cowboys, the Kansas City Cowboys, recorded 10 runs, 11th inning, July 21st, 1986. I'll tell you, the New York Mets did not start the season off to a hot start, to be honest, right? And to have a couple of these historical moments, which are positive, it's not always negative, I think are just great things to help motivate, build confidence, and to say, hey, you know what? We may not be playing our best baseball, but we're not out of the count. We still have a lot of baseball left to be played. And that's something that, as a Cincinnati Reds fan, we're eager to jump on that. Oh, well, let's give up. Let's turn our attention to the Bengals and Bengals football. Well, where are our positive moments? Last night, I think the Nick Lodolo had a positive moment in that I think that we look back, we should cherish a little bit more. Spencer Steer had a home run. And although we only lost by 1 point to a team that's playing really good baseball here in recent weeks. So you got to find the positives. There's always negatives to talk about. We can sit here and talk about negatives, but there's always positives to turn back around. Last but not least, we see the incident that took place back on Sunday, where the Chicago Cubs lost to the White Sox, final score in 9-8 in 10 innings. Pete Crow Armstrong had a incident in the 5th inning as he was making a catch to right center field. He was approaching the wall, missed the catch, and collided with the wall, bringing him down to the ground. As he took a moment to sustain himself, get back up to his feet, a woman was heckling, or a person was heckling him in the crowd. So Detroit has that gated fence, and you're allowed to stand underneath there. And a fan was heckling Pete Pro Armstrong. Well, Pete Pro, with all the emotions and what just took place, ended up exchanging some words that were caught on camera during the game and made it to social media. Well, yesterday, back at Wrigley Field, Pete Pro Armstrong addressed his poor choice decision. He didn't regret uh, firing back at the taunted fan, but wishes that he responded in a different way. Look, Pete Pro Armstrong, all these players are very invested, very emotional, and very intenseful when it comes down to the sport. Chicago Cubs and the White Sox have a very decorative, historical interleague rivalry that is logistic, and you're going to get taunting in the fans. A matter of fact, I follow someone on social media who, calls out the outfielder. Now, some of them are in good cause. I've seen this personal hand, right? The one I watched on social media, just kind of, I don't know the name, but he, kind of ends up like you stud or you bum, kind of giving a joke to them, and they all take it for good comical fun. But there are those, and I've seen them when Tommy Pham was playing for the Reds or in Cincinnati. He's really aggressive, and as a professional athlete, you're asked to contain and control yourself. So it's hard when you're just getting you went full force into the wall, you missed the catch, and on top of that, you got people you know heckling you, taunting you. As much as you can stand your cool, you are going to react. And this was one of the moments where Pete Crow Armstrong just reacted that way. And I don't condone his choice of words. I don't condone his reaction to it, but I also don't necessarily blame him to a certain extent, because this is the game that he loves, he plays, he gets paid for doing. And sometimes when things don't go your way, if you're having a bad day, isn't everyone entitled to it? Right? So, it's just one of those things that is going to stick with us for a long time, and it's going to paint a bad image on Pete Crow Armstrong. So, I mean, I'm kind of bad past it. I'm not going to hold it against him. If you guys do it, then that's under your own discretion. But, that's just me. I want to appreciate everyone for tuning out. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Have those notifications out so you don't miss a single episode. We're back noon to 1 the rest of this week. You can also check us out on our social media page. We could be found on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and more. You could also download this TNC Sports Talk and listen to us on the road at the TNC Sports Talk, wherever you get your podcasting needs are. That is all the time I have for you guys today. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow at 1. And until then, I'm Justin, and you guys are listening to the TNC Sports Talk right here. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care.